Everyone immediately thinks of T'Challa when Black Panther comes up, but the legacy behind that mantle runs through millennia, even before Wakanda as we know it. Today, we're tracing the MCU's Black Panther lineage, from the mystical origin all the way to its future. This isn't just a T'Challa story, it's Wakanda's story. Let's go. Long before T'Challa's first roar, before Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger cast a shadow, a cosmic event changed Earth forever. A meteorite, dense with vibranium, slammed into the African savanna. That crash site would become the epicenter of Wakanda's fate, its soil enriched by vibranium, its people infused with destiny. Vibranium became the foundation of technology unheard of anywhere else. Floating ships, energy shields, and even genetically enhanced plants. From that same ground sprouted the heart-shaped herb, a product of vibranium-tainted soil, later to grant superhuman abilities. Those gifts came not to everyone, but to the one chosen by Bast, the Panther goddess. That chosen one was Bashinga. Guided by Bast, he consumed the herb and became the first Black Panther. With his newfound strength, endurance, and reflexes, he united 4 of the 5 fractured tribes of Wakanda. The stubborn Jabari stayed behind on their icy mountains, but the rest came together under him. Bashinga forged not only a unified kingdom, but the role of Black Panther itself, protector, spiritual successor, and royal line-bearer. From him, the title passed down through generations, silent, unseen in the MCU's films, but omnipresent in Wakandan lore. And centuries later, that lineage would come to its first modern face on screen, T'Chaka. In the films, glimpses of T'Chaka's reign are limited, but telling. He bore the burden of keeping Wakanda's vibranium secret at all costs. That secrecy was so critical that when his brother N'Jobu pushed for openness, planning to share Wakanda's advancements with the world, T'Chaka chose duty over family. In a fateful confrontation, N'Jobu turned violent, and T'Chaka, as Black Panther, had no choice but to kill his brother. N'Jobu's son, Eric Killmonger Stevens, was left orphaned. T'Chaka returned home and quietly raised T'Challa and Shuri alongside Queen Ramonda, never disclosing the murder that safeguarded their future. Years later, tragedy struck again. During a diplomatic event at the United Nations, the Winter Soldier, brainwashed by Helmut Zemo, assassinated T'Chaka. With that, T'Challa inherited not just the Black Panther mantle, but also the crown of Wakanda. At that moment, Wakanda stepped into a new era. T'Challa rose not only as king, but a symbol. He entered the geopolitical fray during the Avengers Civil War, driven by the need to avenge his father. He allied with Iron Man, aiming to protect Wakanda's people from manipulation tied back to Zemo. But when he uncovered the truth that Bucky Barnes was manipulated rather than malicious, he turned his judgment toward justice rather than vengeance. He captured Zemo and offered sanctuary to Bucky in Wakanda. T'Challa returned to Wakanda to assume the throne. However, during the ceremony, he was challenged by M'Baku, the leader of the mountain-dwelling Jabari tribe, who claims that T'Challa is not worthy of being king. The two engage in ritual combat, and even without the strength of the heart-shaped herb, T'Challa manages to best M'Baku and spares his life. T'Challa was crowned the new king of Wakanda. And then came Eric Killmonger Stevens, the cousin T'Challa hadn't known. Ex-military, exceptionally trained, and carrying the rage of his father N'Jobu's death, Killmonger came for the throne. His aim wasn't conquest, he wanted to arm oppressed people worldwide using Wakanda's technology. In a breathtaking clash at Warrior Falls, the two warriors, each embodying aspects of Panther's fury, fought for the future of Wakanda. In the end, Killmonger prevailed, claiming the Black Panther suit and the crown. After ingesting the heart-shaped herb to gain the powers of the Black Panther, Killmonger orders the rest of the plan incinerated, but T'Challa's lover, Nakia, manages to steal one. Nakia, Shuri, Ross, and T'Challa's mother Ramonda flee to seek the aid of the Jabari and learn M'Baku's men are caring for the comatose T'Challa, whom they had rescued in repayment for sparing M'Baku's life. They feed the heart-shaped herb brought by Nakia to T'Challa, who survived and called for a duel atop Mount Bashenga and prevailed. Killmonger, mortally wounded but unrepentant, died asking T'Challa to honor a purpose, even as he slipped away. That duel marked a turning point. T'Challa realized Wakanda had to embrace the world, not just defend it. He traveled beyond its borders and pledged Wakanda's resources and wisdom to advance global well-being. He became more than a king. He became a world hero. During Thanos' assault on Earth, Wakanda was ground zero. It held the ability to remove the Mind Stone from Vision safely. But in the siege, despite heroic efforts, Thanos completed the snap, wiping out billions. Among them, T'Challa faded into dust on his homeland soil. Then, 5 years later, the Avengers made their daring time heist, returned the Vanished, and so returned Black Panther. But his second return was short-lived. T'Challa succumbed to an unnamed illness. This tragic finale wasn't fiction, it was a tribute. Chadwick Boseman's real-world passing led Marvel to retire T'Challa's story, rather than recast his role. They closed the chapter with reverence. Wakanda's future needed a new protector. 1 year later, Wakanda is having trouble with other nations wanting their vibranium, as they believe it is too dangerous to be left to the Wakandans due to its strength, power, and since it cannot be picked up by any existing scans, the Dora Milaje catch French operatives trying to steal vibranium from an outreach outpost in Mali. Later, Ramonda talks to the United Nations and reveals that the operation was officially endorsed by their government. She reminds the UN that even though the Black Panther is gone, they will still fight. Traumatized by loss and facing a world where the heart-shaped herb was gone, T'Challa's sister, Shuri, initially believed the Black Panther mantle obsolete. But global politics heated up. Countries raced to find vibranium. The US scoured the seas. Talokan, the underwater kingdom led by Namor, blamed Wakanda's reveal for drawing attention and raised tensions. When Queen Ramonda was killed during an attack by Namor, Shuri's grief broke into resolve. She recreated the herb, became the next Black Panther, defended Wakanda, and frankly cracked. The emotional cost was immense. Shuri brokered an alliance with Namor, a fragile peace after she decides to spare Namor's life as long as he returns to Talokan, but Namor's true intentions remain unknown. However, we saw Namor paint in his room as Namora accuses him of cowardice for surrendering to the Black Panther. However, he assures her that their new alliance with Wakanda will be beneficial in the long term. After the death of T'Challa and Ramonda, M'Baku seemed to have taken up the responsibility, acting like an elder brother to provide emotional support to Shuri, who was deeply saddened and enraged by such events. All these actions earned him respect among the Wakandans and made the once secluded Jabari tribe accepted by mainstream society, which eventually had M'Baku becoming king of Wakanda. Exhausted, Shuri abdicated, placing M'Baku in charge. In Haiti, Shuri meets with Nakia before leaving for the beach, where she mourns T'Challa and her mother one last time, burning her funeral robes like her mother requested she do, showing she is ready to move on and face the future without her family. Nakia then approaches her with a child. She explains that it is her and T'Challa's son, whom Ramonda had met before passing. The boy introduces himself as Toussaint before telling Shuri it is his Haitian name and his real name is T'Challa. Raised outside Wakanda's pressures, he represents a hopeful legacy. Looking ahead, Shuri will return in Avengers Doomsday, joining the Avengers in a multiverse-spanning battle. Talokan may show up again. Wakanda's alliances, threats, and innovations all point to more adventures for Black Panther. Meanwhile, leaks of concept art for a Secret War-style event suggest even prequel moments for early Wakanda royalty, like T'Chaka, may still come. Imagine seeing Wakanda's ancient history. What a story that could be. Damson Idris, the breakout star of Snowfall and F1, recently stirred Marvel speculation during a Today Show appearance. When asked bluntly whether he'd spoken with Marvel about becoming the next Black Panther, he gave a playful yes-no. Pressed further, Idris admitted he'd gladly accept the role if offered. That response, equal parts coy and sincere, suggests conversations might be quietly happening behind the scenes. Meanwhile, another name reverberating through Wakanda's future corridors is Denzel Washington. In late 2024, he surprised audiences during an interview on Australia's Today Show by revealing, "Ryan Coogler is writing a part for me in the next Black Panther. No fanfare, just that line, dropped casually like Wakandan vibranium into the conversation." Recently, Coogler confirmed the news, calling Denzel Washington family and the greatest living actor, saying he's been trying to work with him since day one and thrilled that the one leak was true. In short, Black Panther 3 is happening and Denzel Washington is locked in with a tailor-made role. From Bashanga's first bond with Bast, to T'Challa's global rise, Killmonger's rebellion, Shuri's resurrection of the Panther spirit, and Toussaint's arrival, the Black Panther mantle has meant so much more than superpowers. It's heritage, sacrifice, vision, leadership, and renewal.